Hello guys, here we are in a brand new video. Here we are going to be reacting to a dev talking about GTA 6 downgrade, if that is real, if that is not, and let's get straight into it. Give me a thumbs up, give me a like for more content like this, and tell me what's your opinion is in the comments. Let's get straight into it.
Last time, half the internet was convinced that GTA 6 looked too good to be real. This
That's me.
time, the other half decided it looks too bad to be real.
That's true.
Awesome, this is where we're at now. So, the latest panic in the forums is that GTA 6 has been downgraded, and the
Many
internet
people said that.
sleuths have found their Exhibit A, Jason's safe house. They are comparing one image from trailer 2 that was released back in 2025 and one image from the new screenshot dump that we got when pre-orders opened up.
Guys, that's a thing that I would like to point out. That's true because look at, for example, this 2025 is different than the 2026. Look at the 2025 looks unreal, and then the 2025 looks nice, but it looks like damn, they have downgraded something. And I'm not the only one that is complaining about this. Many people have complained about, and maybe this guy is gonna be telling us what's the problem here, knowing that he's a dev, not a dev of Rockstar, but you know what I mean, a dev that knows what's happening here.
Same house, different look, and now people are comparing them like they are detectives on CSI Miami. Damn, Horatio, look at the bushes. Am I freaking out here? Kelly, would you look at the puddles and tell me what you see? Eric, look at those shadows. That is crazy. Alex,
Not gonna lie, many people are like detectives. That's true. That's a good point of what he's saying. That many people are complaining too much. But that's it. Many people complain in many type of games. So what do you expect? If I were Rockstar, I would answer this question. What do you expect? Many people are complaining. Look at other type of game. There is not a single game that many people do not complain about. That's the point. And knowing how Rockstar took 13 years to make this game, they better be making these type of things good and special. Do you know what I mean?
Rockstar downgraded the game and hoped no one would notice. They're trying to pull a crime over on us. So let's ask the obvious question. Did GTA 6 actually get downgraded? No. But the
Yeah, I think
reason
so. No.
behind that simple response is much more interesting than just denying it and moving on.
Okay.
Because there are 5 distinctly different things happening in this safe house comparison, and
Mhm.
only one of them has anything to do with graphics. So let me walk you through what I'm seeing. So if you're new here, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. A little bit about me. I spent 14 years in the games industry, including time at Epic Games on the production side, and I've shipped some blockbuster titles. I've also watched studio community managers just melt down because what the art director thought was a beautiful shot suddenly becomes a full blown internet conspiracy because one shadow moves 6 inches between two screenshots,
Hmm.
and those community managers got to deal with it.
Okay.
In 2026, the word downgrade has become one of the most abused words in gaming. People use it anytime two images don't match perfectly. And that's not correct. That's just running around yelling fire when there isn't any fire. As I mentioned in the previous video, I'm not a graphics engineer, so keep that in mind. But you don't need to be a killer or even a noob graphics engineer to understand most of this. You
Okay,
just need to
explain it.
understand how games change throughout the development cycle.
Mhm.
And that explains why a screenshot or even footage you saw 2 years ago is never going to look like the game you're going to get on launch day.
Damn.
So let's dive in and see if we can get to the bottom of this. Shall we? We shall.
Hmm?
There are 5 different reasons for the differences. I'll go through each one of them one at a time.
Okay.
First, let's give credit where credit is due. The people saying that the screenshot looks like a downgrade aren't just making this up out of thin air. Here's a list of what people actually have their panties in a bundle over.
Damn, so mad. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. We was going very, very well. But you know, come on.
Compared to trailer 2, the new safe house screenshot is missing the puddles around the house. The
You
whole
see?
image is a warmer yellow tone that some people are calling the Mexico filter. So are they sipping on one too many Modelos before looking at these screenshots? But we'll get back to that. So another thing is that the bushes near Jason's dirt bike look a wee bit thinner, and the shadows look somewhat softer. Also, the shadow beneath the car doesn't look as sharp, and according to the internet Columbos, Jason's hair and beard look a lot worse. So that's the laundry
Damn.
list of grievances for just this one screenshot. Well, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the differences in the screenshots don't exist. Some of them clearly do. But people aren't asking the right questions to get some real answers. The question isn't, are these images different? Of course they're different. The question I want you to ask, my dear viewer, is
Okay.
why are they different? And that's where the argument saying that the game has been downgraded falls apart. So let's start with reason number one, since it covers most of the bases. These two shots are not taken at the same time of day. They're not even showing the same type of weather. So take a look at the sun in the new
That's a really good point, my guy. You just catch me here. You are smart. You are very, 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 very smart.
image. It's lower, it's warmer, it's throwing that golden light across the scene. That is your so called Mexico filter. So it isn't some filter slapped on a scene because Rockstar forgot how lighting works. It's called the golden hour. It's the time right before the sun sets or comes up in the morning that every filmmaker or photographer try to get their shots lined up so that they get that money shot. In a past life, before as a game developer, I was a graphic designer that did annual reports and worked with photographers to take outside photos and portraits under these exact same conditions. Why? Because the low sun makes scenes look naturally warmer. The shadows aren't as oppressive. Surfaces pick up more red and yellow and orange. The entire mood of the photo changes. That's not a downgrade. That is literally how sunlight at those times of day work during good weather conditions.
I imagine.
So there was a comment floating around the forums that actually nailed this. Someone pointed out that the lower sun completely redoes how a scene looks. They even compared it to Cyberpunk 2077, where the
Mhm.
exact same location can look completely
Damn,
different
that's
depending on
true.
the time of day. The same
Damn.
location, the same game assets, different light quality. It gives the scene a completely different feeling. And
Mhm.
that's the non flame out of an explanation. And in game development, the most boring explanation is usually the correct one. So let's move on to the puddles because there's another
Second
mystery
reason.
that everybody keeps pointing at, which
Okay.
leads us to reason number two. So this seems just like a bad Scooby Doo mystery. Wait, Shaggy, where did the puddles go? Well, Fred, that's the downgrade. No, the puddles did not get put on the downgrade hit list. They just dried up. It stopped raining. GTA has had a weather dynamic in the game for a long time. When it rains, the puddles appear. When it stops raining, they go away. And it's not some wild hair of a theory.
Hmm?
That is a weather system doing exactly what it's supposed to do, and this house is sitting on wet coastal area on stilts. Of course, you're going to see standing water in one shot and dry ground in another. That is not evidence of a rendering cut, that is just how weather works. The
Okay.
massive chunk of this downgrade panic is just a different time of day and different weather. It's really just a big nothing burger. It's just the lighting and weather doing what they do in the game naturally. Okay, so we've beaten that dead horse. Let's move on
Okay.
to the next reason, which has nothing to do with the game itself. So this is reason number three if you're scoring at home. It actually has to do with what people are comparing. On one side, you have the new screenshot. It's brand spanking new, it's totally clean, it's high res, it's exported by Rockstar to look good as a still image. So when you dump the screenshot out there, it was made to be zoomed in on and picked apart. The other image is a shot from the trailer. Except most of the time, it's not really a shot. It's just a random frame that someone paused from a compressed YouTube video. So comparing these two different forms of media is not a
That's
fair comparison.
I like
Video
this guy because this guy goes directly on what he thinks and what is true. Because damn, look at what he's saying. This was from the trailer. That's a really, really good shot. Damn, I'm really impressed.
compression is rough, especially when there's movement. The camera is moving, the water is moving, things in the environment are moving, and the video codec is constantly throwing away tiny details to keep the file size manageable. That's the downside of video compression. So when you pause a trailer and grab one frame, you're often looking at one of the worst versions of that image. It may have been perfectly fine in motion, but the moment you freeze it, all the smearing and softness becomes painfully obvious because it's getting residuals from the codec. That does not mean the game has changed. It means you pause the compressed video and treat it like a native 4K screenshot. A lot of these comparisons are basically putting a release screenshot up against a blurry pause frame from a video and pretending they're the same thing. They are not. The screenshot naturally looks sharper. It's not proof that the game got better or worse. However, a high res image and a compressed video frame are two completely different things. Let's be honest about one more thing because it happens every time these arguments break out. Someone online adjusts the images to prove their point. Someone zooms in on a blurry image. Someone adjusts the contrast in another. Someone lines it up in a way that makes the difference look bigger than it actually is. It's not always on purpose and they don't understand what they're doing. But once you see images that have been manipulated, you start looking for it and you kind of start seeing it in a lot of the things that people are arguing over. Okay, so let's move on to the fourth reason that set the internet on fire in these screenshots, and that's Jason's hair. If you watched a few of the videos on his channel, you may see where this line of attack is going. People are pulling up a close-up shot of Jason from the screenshots and comparing this next to a wider shot from the trailer and saying, look man, his hair got worse. But comparing them that way isn't the right way to look at them. What's showing up in this image is LOD.
If you are listening to the cylinder,
my goodness,
I am no longer in this world.
Level of detail. I already did the full breakdown in the water video, so I'm not going to iterate what level of definition is. But here's the 15-second explanation if you don't want to go watch the video. Games render things close to you in higher detail and simplify objects farther away because your eye does not need that same information at every distance. That's the backbone of open world games. So what exactly are people comparing? People have pulled up a hero shot of Jason. His face fills the frame. His beard is meant to look great. The camera is right up in his face. And then as a counterpoint, they have the wide environmental shot where Jason is super small, standing on the deck of his house. And of course, his beard looks softer in the wide shot. It's supposed to. The game is not going to spend the same rendering budget on a character 40 feet from the camera as it does on something that's close up and meant to sell character upgrades from the game.
He has a
That
point
is
here.
not a downgrade. That is an optimization. That same logic applies to some of the things that people are complaining about with the foliage. People are saying the bushes look thinner. I don't know if they're on a Ozempic or a GLP-1, but maybe they do in that image. But the foliage is heavily affected by several things in the game engine. Distance, camera angle, lighting, density settings. It's what the image decides at that time is worth rendering from the camera position. So a lot of these hair and bush comparisons are basically similar to what people are seeing as they watch a basketball game from two different vantage points. The people near the court have a great view and a totally different view of the scene. And the people from the nosebleeds are actually viewing the same game, but it's a different way of seeing what the details are. And they're acting shocked that the view is actually different between these two images. So let's get to the last reason, and this is the one most people are missing. The house itself actually appears to be different. It's not just the lighting, it's not just the color, it's the actual freaking building. People digging through the screenshots notice that the newer version of the safe house has a white wooden fence that was not there before. The boat ramp looks rebuilt. The roof line appears different. The chimney looks taller. And there was even a bird sitting on a railing in one shot that is totally gone in another shot. So why does this actually matter? Those changes are physical changes. That is new geometry and art assets, which means something else may be happening here. There's a theory being floated, and I wanted to clarify this is only speculation. Nobody has confirmed it. But the theory is that Jason's safe house can be renovated over time, and it actually changes as the story progresses. If you think about it, that actually fits better with the theory than there are downgrades. You should go back and watch trailer 2. Early in the trailer, inside their house looks pretty rough. The hallway appears to be under construction. Later in the trailer, it looks like some renovations have actually been made. People noticed that a while ago. There's already a theory that Jason gets the place from Brian and fixes it up over time, almost like the camp upgrades in Red Dead Redemption 2. So the downgraded house might actually not be downgraded at all. It might be a different version of the same house, a different version from later in the game, where a fence was added, a ramp has been rebuilt, and an exterior was cleaned up. It's a story progression that's reflected in the world. But I'm just spinning a theory here. However, that theory actually fits what we are seeing, and it completely flips the conversation. People think they are looking at a worse version of the house. They may be looking at a renovated one. Now, let me be totally honest, because I'm not here to act like Rockstar's fanboy posse. Is it possible some things generally change for the worse? Yes, of course it is. Games in development change constantly. Things get added, things get removed, things get adjusted, then readjusted, then adjusted again because something broke performance in Mission 3. That is normal game development. Also, let's not pretend that trailers and screenshots are the same thing.
That's
A
true.
trailer is showing you what the game looks like from multiple perspectives. It is a cinematic capture. It has perfect angles, carefully selected moments, and ideal conditions. Every scene is chosen to make the game look as strong as possible in less than 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But if you line up the most polished trailer frame against the standard promo screenshot,
Mm-hmm.
possibly this promo screenshot may actually win some of the comparisons, and then the trailer shots, depending on the resolution, may win some other ones.
That's
So
true.
Jason's safe house has become the poster child for people panicking about a downgrade, and is one of the weakest examples people could have chosen, because
That's true.
almost everything being pointed at can be explained by rational thinking. Time of day, weather, camera distance, level of detail, or the house itself might have physically.
One thing I'm gonna point out is that this guy have basically resolved mostly of my doubt about the GTA 6 graphical issues, because that for me is issues because of, guys, for real, am I crazy by thinking all of this about the downgrades and everything? Looking at the images, many people thought the same thing as me, but there was no one to confirm me what was happening here, and I'm really grateful with this guy. Go to his video, give him a thumbs up, give him a like, and subscribe for more content like that, because this guy, for real, I'm gonna subscribe to him, and we are gonna be reacting to more videos like this, because this is real educative videos that makes you think, and think as a perspective, as a dev, about the releases of other type of games and what to do and what to not do. For example, what me I wouldn't do is directly take a screenshot theory of a video of GTA 6, thinking, do you know what? This picture, I'm gonna take it because of it's of the trailer, and we're gonna just compress it and get straight into it. No, directly take your time, take a screenshot, but of a better place, better time, and whatever, and more detailed. Because later, many people are going to be complaining about the state of the GTA 6 only by judging of two images as have happened right now. You know what I mean?
Been changed. And that's not a smoking gun. Actually, we've been here before. Remember that Spider Man on PS4 had the same infamous puddle controversy? For people who don't remember, there was a puddle in an early demo. In a later build, the puddle was smaller, and the internet lost its mind. People were calling it Puddlegate, and
Yeah.
gamers were genuinely talking about canceling pre orders over a puddle. Eventually, the developers had to come out and say actually what was happening.
But Rockstar
That it was
didn't care.
not a downgrade, it was just a change during development.
Yeah,
And
they're
this is
different.
exactly why studios get nervous about showing games early. Because once you show people anything, they freeze in their minds as what they're going to see in game.
That's true.
Every puddle becomes a promise, every shadow becomes a shred of evidence, and every bush becomes a crime scene. Then Spider Man came out and it looked fantastic. Nobody cared about the puddle anymore. GTA 6 is going through the same thing right now. We're
Okay.
going to look back on the great safe house panic of 2026 and laugh at how much energy got spent on a dried up puddle and a different sun angle. So, did GTA 6 get downgraded? No, not
Okay.
at least based on my comparison.
Mhm.
In other words, this is completely normal game development stuff. It's not a graphics scandal, it's not a cover up, and it's not proof that Rockstar gutted the game. It's just the internet doing what it always does. It finds two images, ignores the context, and turns normal production changes into a 5 alarm fire. So, if you want the calm version of the game
Guys,
news, you know, the
directly.
version that does not set your hair on fire every time someone in the Reddit forums discovers that a shadow moves in GTA 6, please subscribe. So let me know in the comments, what was the craziest freakout you've ever seen a fan base have for a game? I'd say Puddlegate is still the gold standard, but I'm sure someone out there has seen worse. Next
Okay.
time, we're going to talk about the rumor that will not die 60 frames per second. There's a leak going around claiming that GTA 6 will have a 60 frames per second mode on PS5 and Series X. Digital Foundry looked at this and said, do not hold your breath.
Damn.
So next, we're going to talk about why the hardware might not allow it, what's actually realistic, and why 40 frames per second might be the real 60. Thanks for
Okay.
watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Guys, thanks for watching, and see you in the next one. Peace. Thanks, and I'll be putting the video in the description, and give me a like, subscribe for more content like this, and we are going to be reacting to this guy. For example, now I'm going to be subscribed to his channel because he does a really good job. See you in the next one. Peace.